What's going on, guys? So, COVID-19 is here, and I'm sure I'm speaking for everybody when I say that this has probably been the weirdest week of my life. After all, we've not been able to travel to work, we've not been able to socialise, and we've all just been left with so much spare time to kill. Let's get that disclaimer out there. Where's the first place that you're going to go when you have spare time to kill? Quick show of hands. Raise your hand if you know the answer, or raise that hand. It's obviously going to be Netflix. And that's exactly what I did. So I was doing the usual trawl through on the recommended for you, and I stumbled upon Queer Eye. Not really a program I necessarily expected myself to watch. So I threw it down. I laid myself the challenge and I watched the first couple of episodes. I was hooked straight away. I have to be honest and say that I was completely hooked from the off. I've now finished the first season, and there's been episodes that have left me feeling very touched. There's been episodes that have left me feeling very moved, and there's been episodes that have actually left me feeling very emotional, if I'm being honest. And I think when something has such a profound impact, the first thing you should do is really take a step back and think, why has that been the case? So that's the purpose of this video. I've kind of done that reflecting. So now I've put together 5 life lessons from Queer Eye that I think you should take away and apply to your day-to-day life. So let's start with the most obvious one. Imagine meeting a man that was a fantastic cook. Then imagine meeting a man that was a brilliant interior designer. Then imagine meeting a man that was a fantastic life coach with lots and lots of empathy. Then imagine meeting a man that had great style. Then imagine meeting a man that had great hair. If you kind of put all those characteristics together, you kind of have a really, really well polished and ideal man. A man that would make a fantastic boyfriend, a man that would make a fantastic husband, and just a man that would be a really positive influence to have in your life no matter who you were. So I think it's worth looking at the Fab Five, looking at those characteristics and actually thinking, can I embody some of that? And I remember when I was a lot younger, listening to David D'Angelo, who was one of the original pickup artists. And in one of his programs, he discussed the concept of becoming a Renaissance man, i.e. a man that has a well-rounded skill set that actually comes together and doesn't just make him a one-track pony, i.e. it doesn't just make him a man who's only capable of doing one thing that sits comfortably within his skill set. So I think if you're watching Queer Eye and you're looking at all the men in that and you're looking at how the work that they do and what they're doing is actually influencing the people around them, it's actually worth thinking, is that something that I'd learn? Because I would actually argue that it is. And I think it makes you very attractive to other women, but I also think it just makes you a much happier individual because you're constantly learning, you're constantly developing, and you're really embodying and taking on a wide range of skills. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of completely heterosexual men are quite guilty of just dismissing anything that gay guys are good at. Maybe it's because they don't see it as manly, or maybe it's because they see it as a threat when a gay guy is actually really good at something that they're not. But either way, I would definitely encourage any heterosexual man or any woman watching to kind of throw that mindset away and actually take on all of those characteristics and all of those skill sets if they can. Number 2, they've all undergone a journey. This one is really, really interesting. So at the start of the year, I kind of made a New Year's resolution that I was going to make as much effort as I can to speak to different people. And by that, I mean people that had obvious differences to me. So anybody that essentially wasn't a 25 to 35-year-old male. That led me to having interesting conversations with people of different races, people of different genders, and people of different sexualities. And the thing that really stands out for me whenever you talk to someone who isn't your standard heterosexual male is that they all have really, really interesting and at points quite emotional stories that kind of led them to getting to the point that they're at now. And one of the things that I've noticed too is that if ever you ask a gay guy whether they've got straight mates, the answer that you normally get is no, or yes, but I was friends with them before I came out. And I number one think that's actually quite sad that, you know, sexuality provides a barrier when it really, really shouldn't. But also I actually think it's really interesting because when you actually hear the content of some of the coming out stories, you hear some of the resistance and the obstruction and the obstacles that they face throughout their journey, you actually realise that for most people it's not been an easy linear A to B journey in order to get to the point that they're at as a completely open gay male. And I think for that reason we need to take a step back and just think, shit, like that is a phenomenally strong thing to do. You know, and that's not to say that we all don't have our struggles, because we do, but those type of struggles where you're challenging society and you're taking a step away from that and you're being judged it's a different kind of obstacle that we probably haven't given enough credit to actually thinking of the sheer mental strength it takes to get through that. Number 3, vulnerability is key. So this one will link more to the people that they have on the program, but if you think of most of the cases and most of the people that they go and see and most of the lives that they transform, The common theme is that most of these people have developed a coping mechanism to deal with some degree of sadness or some degree of insecurity in their life. But it hasn't worked for them. It's left a lot of them feeling very depressed, it's left a lot of them self-isolating, and it's left a lot of them kind of pushing trusted members of their family away. And I suppose the take-home message really to have from that is that you can't numb feelings. And I think one of the strengths that the Fab Five have when they go and visit people is they bring all those feelings to the surface. And they make men that wouldn't feel comfortable normally expressing those feelings actually feel very, very, very comfortable expressing them. And I think you can always see when you're watching the program just the shift that it has in the person when they actually release those feelings, the shift that it has in the person when they actually express how they're feeling towards their life. And I think once that is done, you instantly see the Fab Five transform them, and you instantly see just a completely different person kind of rise up and emerge. Number 4, injecting energy into somebody else's life can be one of the most uplifting things that you can do. That's what they do. They go and see people, they visit them, and they take people that wouldn't feel comfortable normally having 5 gay guys in their house. They throw their energy level in, and bang, it instantly lifts that person. And that is something that you should really be aspiring to take back to your everyday life. After all, I think for me personally, one of the most uplifting things can be when I meet someone, I'm positive, I'm upbeat, and I come away and I just think, shit, like, I have had such a profound impact on that person. I have made such a positive difference. Even if that difference only lasts 3 minutes, maybe you caught that person when they were feeling a little bit low, maybe that person expressed an anxiety to you that they hadn't expressed to somebody else, or maybe you just made that person laugh and it was the first time they'd laughed that day. The point is that if you see somebody and you bring that positive energy and you leave that person feeling good after you left, not only does it feel incredible for them, but it actually feels incredibly good for you. And I think that that's when you become the kind of person that does that comfortably in their day-to-day life. You just open up new possibilities in terms of making friends. You open up new possibilities in terms of the opportunities that you make for yourself. And you just live life at that extra 10% of happiness, which can be so inspiring for you, the people in your life, and the everyday people that you come into contact with. Transformation extends way beyond the way that you look. So I think this one really does relate to society nowadays, because society kind of sells you this idea that you should look a certain way. And once you look that particular way, doors and possibilities in life will open up to you. But what makes Queer Eye interesting is that it really shows that transformation goes so much beyond that. It really shows that transformation is a complete deep dive into who you are as a person and the situation that you find yourselves in. And I think that is just such a poignant, powerful message to take away, because I think we as human beings can become very obsessed with the way that we look, and I think we as human beings can think that we constantly need to be improving the way that we look. But actually, if you look at some of the life coaching that happens, if you look at the subtle improvements in terms of being able to cook and eat a more varied range of foods, you actually see that things like that actually really do have a strong impact on your life. So I think it's really worth looking at yourself and thinking, obviously, like, I would like to look better, or I'd like to change this, but maybe actually just think about what's actually going to make you happy. And once you've decided what's actually going to make you happy, maybe focus on doing that and just becoming a completely positive and best version of yourself that you can be.